How's it going, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome back to a brand new live testing duel. No locals feature matches yet, obviously, but as soon as locals gets back up and going, I'm going to be very excited to bring you guys feature matches again, because I know it's been a very, very long time. I think mid-March was the last time I had uploaded any of those. I know the online feature matches are going up as well, but actually got a chance to film a IRL duel with my brothers. Hasn't played in a few months, but luckily I was able to pick Mekk Knights up back pretty quickly. It is one of his favorite decks of mine, and had to show him a few the new play lines with gears and everything, but sort of picking it up very quickly. But nonetheless, I decided I would play Photon Galaxy. Now I am playing Afterglow in this build, so it's not current format Photon Galaxy, but again, I'm only playing 2 Afterglow, and that's literally the only thing that changes from previous builds that I've uploaded that don't have Afterglow Dragon. So keep that in mind. There's no overall major changes to the deck, and minus a Felgrand in the extra deck as well for that early triggering of the Afterglow during turn 1. So as you can see here, I get started with the Photon Sanctuary for 2. But I have Orbital, so I don't need to go for the Union Carrier to be able to get access to the Orbital. So I can just get the tokens out on the board, obviously to have something for the Orbital to equip to. But as you can see, I get the Brave out on the board now. And of course, as a level 8, I guess important to mention, or else, I wouldn't be able to resolve the Expedition. But debating on what I want to get off the Expedition, I'm thinking, I could go for Soldier to grab Knight. But then I need a way to get the Galaxy Eyes out of my hand into the graveyard, so I just go for Soldier here. But unfortunately, this was sort of a bridge to sort of the Soldier going through is like the bridge to get across the river. That was what was going to be this play essentially. So now that the Valor comes in, things change up quite a bit. So I have to make sort of a plan B here. So linking off those two, going into Union Carrier. Now you might be wondering, why am I going to Union Carrier here if I've already used Orbital? Well, I'm taking a page, I guess, out of Block Dragon, or not Block Dragon, Adamantipator's book. How they get access to their Block Dragon through Union Carrier. I will need to get access to Knight still, so I'm gonna do exactly that and still get access to my Knight by equipping this the Galaxy Knight to one of the Orbital tokens. That way I can, link the tokens off into a link that I'm just now starting to enjoy in Photon Galaxy, the Bujinki Anima, or Ahashima. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. But either way, that'll allow me to get both the Knight out of the grave and the Galaxy Eyes on the board for my hand. Now, the reason I went for the Galaxy Knight is because I was thinking I was going to have a way to possibly get to Soul Flare, but along the way of making this combo, I realized I wasn't going to be able to do that because obviously Union Carrier and Bujinki, they cannot be used as link material. At least Union Carrier cannot be used as link material the turn it's summoned. But the Bujinki Ahashima cannot be used at period for link material. So during his draw phase, I'm going to use the effect of number 90. Of course, that's going to go ahead and grab me the Photon Orbital. Not Orbital, the Photon Sanctuary, rather. Sort of similar, I guess. One in the same now with the Union Chief in the game. As you can see, I can set one back row here, and one thing I actually added to the main deck of my Photon Galaxy deck was one copy of Galaxy Cyclone. I'm not a huge fan of Galaxy Cyclone, not at all, but Mystic Mine really makes me sad, and having a way to in some cases, if I'm fearing a Mystic Mine, whether it be a main decked card, something against like Striker, and I guess this is more for of a competitive application. If you're playing not as competitively with Photon, you could always leave back removal in the side, keep it out of the main if you're more focused on pulling off combos instead of trying to account for certain meta calls and things like that. But either way, he's going to go for, he opens the one of Instant Fusion, which is just great for me, because I'm going to have to force negate that Thousand Eyes Restrict, or else I'm going to lose the number 90, which I do not want to do. And potentially give him a free column, because he can choose wherever he wants to put the number 90, etc., etc. So going for blue sky, and unfortunately blue will get 2 because, well, you know, the nature of the link arrows of Union Carrier, and the fact that they themselves cannot be used as link material. At least, you know, of course, Union Carrier, only the turn is summoned, but, you know, still making a pretty big difference here. And again, not really knowing in a blind setting what I'd be playing against, so not trying to dodge around columns so much, but again, you really can't dodge around them here anyways. So, and I believe he's adding like indigo and yellow off of this purple, or not purple, adding off the purple rather, adding yellow. And I believe he added indigo and purple off of the blue, if that makes any sense. So of course shuffling up the deck there. My only hope, I guess, currently is to rely on the larger defense points of number 90 to try to hold down the fort, but I know Mekk Knight is pretty good at getting access to removal, whether it be in the extra deck or in the main deck. Now, granted, he cannot be destroyed by card effects number 90 because he does have a Photon monster as material. But of course, you know, BLS is a card, Avermax is a card, we know Lib is a card, access to Dingirsu very easily with the Galatea play through Girsu in the main deck. So lots of non-destruction removal for Mekk Knight now, more so than it has had in the past. So he's going to get Succession off of the Morningstar, and he'll summon out yellow, and of course hits that set Galaxy Cyclone, which I had to, you know, hard open the one of. And then he's going to flip up that Succession after summoning, you know, setting it for the zone to make yellow. Live in, he's going to bring out the World Legacy World Armor, search, I believe, Secret, and go into Lib. And I believe Lib is going to set World Legacy Whispers from the deck. I know he sets it fast. Forgot to show it to the camera, but setting the Whispers from the deck, the one that will negate spells and also boost up a level 5 or higher monster he has by 1,000 attack and defense, which is pretty good considering a lot of the monsters in the Photon Galaxy arsenal, more so in the extra deck, have massive attack points. And those would be very hard to get over without a card like that. Even if it isn't a one-time situation, you know, still can be very, very helpful. So normal summoning, committing the normal here, actually, finally, to Girsu. Girsu will send the World Legacy World Chalice in my build, opting to play both World Legacy World Armor and Chalice, because I think they both serve their own roles. Obviously, Armor's great for first turn extension plays, and the World Chalice is great for follow-up plays later on, and I really do like it, giving you a very good follow-up in the next turn through the Graveyard Search. So he's going to pretty much clear my entire board, put me down to 42 after I take all the damage, you know, over the Bujinki and, you know, Girsu going over the Union Carrier and spinning back the number 90. So basically, just showing me at this point, you know, he has the negate for my Sanctuary, still has more gas in the tank to be able to turn off 2 more cards, essentially, you know, either monster or spell effects, whatever they may be. So we're going to head into game 2, and of course, a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist if you guys are interested in picking up any of the gear we're using in this video, whether it be playmats, sleeves, dice, whatever it may be. Check out Imperium Duelist down in the link below, and use that discount code WinnerKills10 off at checkout. Save 10% off your entire order. And of course, if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, do not forget to use my affiliate link down below, because a small portion of the revenue of your purchase will go back into the channel, which of course is really, really awesome. Of course, at no extra cost to you for cards, you know, you might already be buying on TCG Player. So either way, getting back into the game here, game 2, I'm gonna make Orcus go first. Now I know Girsu's made it much more easy for this deck to go first in terms of having a solid opening play line. You know, Girsu really does a good job. You know, it gives your opponents a token, you know, sets up Blue Sky turn 1, which is fantastic. If you can make Blue Sky live turn 1, you are in for a good turn. It's just, it puts you so far ahead. It's an effect, it's a search you wouldn't be able to resolve otherwise. And of course, Girsu setting up the graveyard as well. I mean, there's really not much else you could ask for. And also creating a 1-card Lib or Morningstar is also pretty good, I heard. So, of course, speaking of Lib, going to go for it, and I believe he's getting the Succession, obviously. It's a bit of a standard play, somewhat standard. It's a play that I really enjoy doing, is getting Succession off Lib, of course, after I have sent the World Armor to the grave off of the Girsu. That way you can succession it back, in this case, not only for a body to help make Morningstar, but again, to get an additional search in the process. It may seem sort of redundant, but you do get that extra body on the field, which is what I really do like about it. And of course, it can be revived at any later point in the game with either a secret, a succession, and of course to net you another search of a really powerful card, whether it be key, memory, or whispers, whatever it may be. Again, it could be scars, World Legacy scars if you're playing the FTK build. It really just depends on what sort of route you want to take. So he's gonna basically lead all the way up into an Avermax, opting not to spin the token. A bit of a 9,000 IQ move. Obviously, if he keeps the token on the board, and this goes for any Mekk Knight player, sometimes leaving the token on the opponent's side of the field may actually be better because it'll prevent from a few cards. Evenly Matched, Lightning Storm, and I believe, what other card am I forgetting? Evenly Matched, Lightning Storm, and one other card you can't activate if you have a card on your board. But you get the point. It'll help prevent your opponent just being able to freely play those cards, and it can also be decent against, you know, and I guess I'll mention this since the hype resurgence that I don't know if it's still ongoing, if Striker's still seeing play now, but you know, obviously leaving a monster on the opponent's field sometimes can mess up their strategy, you know, whatever it may be. So getting started here with the Clutch Brave, you know, revealing the Vanisher rather. And Vanisher is going to be able to hit the board thanks to Brave. Going to go ahead and search out a copy of GEPD, Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. Now the rest of my hand is looking pretty darn good. I have Soldier, I've got Galaxy Eyes, I've got Knight. I think I might even have an Expedition in hand as well. So my hand is pretty stacked, as they say. But the thing about the token on his side of the field is it's a little bit of a board clogger. The fact that he leaves it there because it is a dark, can't really do too much with that with Photon Galaxy since I'm not playing any generic links. Strictly by choice because I feel it fits better with the overall playstyle of Photon Galaxy, often locking themselves into light monsters. And really an archetype that needs to play within its own archetype. I feel like it has a hard time branching out into more generic cards. But that's just my personal opinion after, you know, playing the deck for so long. So Soldier hits the board. The Expedition, of course, is made live by the Soldier. That's going to get Galaxy Eyes out of the deck. As you can see, I'm trying to figure out what the next move is going to be. I have Afterglow in hand. I have Galaxy Knight. I know I can make a pretty big play, either through the help of Knight and especially through the help of Afterglow. I'm thinking here if I can get to Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, I can make some plays happen here. I can negate the Avermax, and if any other effect would activate, and of course in the battle phase, you get an additional attack and 1,000 attack boost, and of course its attack would be doubled thanks to the Afterglow. So I'm trying to set that up in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, it could be foiled by a number of ways, Secrets being one of them, but it also, Nibiru will be added to that list. And that is going to be a large rock token. Luckily, I'm still able to add back off of my Soul Flare Dragon, and I try to follow up with Desires. Possibly could have got somewhere into my play since I haven't even committed a normal summon yet. Possibly could have gotten somewhere further along in my play had he not also had the Ash. So, bit of a 1-2 punch, if you ask me. Of course, I love to see Photon Galaxy doing good, but you can't really always do good in the face of those two particular hand traps, Ash and Nibiru, doing what they do well, and that is slowing down the opponent's strategy when it seems to be getting a little too off the rails. Saving the Ash for the rebuttal, a pretty solid play. So Purple, of course, coming back in the standby phase for our Mekk Knight player. Really, right now, you're probably thinking about how to just close it out completely. All I've got left is a token, and you're simply one red moon away from clearing it. I know in the past, some decks have struggled with, you know, ways to possibly out the Nibiru token as big as it can get sometimes, because sometimes those tokens can get up to 12,000 plus attack, and sometimes it's an issue of, you know, can you out your own token? But of course, Mekk Knight is an exception because it does have very easy access to removing such a card, especially since it doesn't have any immunities to it. That's one thing to keep in mind. So, resolving Blue Sky after searching blue off of purple. Looking possibly for maybe Girsu at this point, because Girsu can, you know, get a body on board, get some advantage set up in the grave for next turn. Really can't go for any other Mekk Knights currently. I don't think there's any open zones. I think he's already used Indigo in this turn as well. You know, the one thing about Nibiru and Mekk Knight is I mean, it's obviously fantastic, all right? It's great against any combo deck for the most part. I think Pendulum aside, it's probably not the greatest against because of the Jackalope. Or the Jackal King, rather, not Jackalope. You know, great against combo in general. Also giving the opponent a token, which of course allows you to set up columns. So now he's going to link Nibiru and Girsu into Galatea, the Orcus Automaton, and then slap it in Girsu on top of it and send away the token, not even needing to get to Red Moon. So problem solved either way, and swinging with everything is just 1,000 damage short. But it really isn't going to make too big of a difference because he's going to be able to get a Morning Star on board with access to Secret, an Indigo Engrave, and I believe possibly another memory set as well. He discarded the memory in hand. I'm not sure what the other set might actually be, but we know one of them is Secret, and if you can get Secret with Indigo and Morningstar, you're in a good spot. I top deck Trance, and I slap it down like I'm in a winning position, but then I realize I only have 1,000 life points, and I can't even resolve the card, although because the rest of my hand was really, really good. But we played it out a little bit afterwards to see if I did have the life. If I had enough life points to do so, would I be able to actually come back and win through that field? Odds are unlikely. So it is unfortunate. But either way, Photon Galaxy losing 2-0 to pure Mekk Knight. I mean, I love both the decks, so I'm not really too upset that one lost and one won. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's been such a long time since we've had live duels on the channel, and I really do hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a like if you're excited for live duels making a return in the very, very future. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, Winter Kill is signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And lastly, of course, a special thanks to my Divine Level channel members here on YouTube, Academic Thick, Travis Harris, and Zors. Thank you guys so much for your generous support.